Hi, this is Queenie Clem with Queenie's Book Talk and Reviews, and that I am your literary ambassador. Today on my channel, I have the pleasure of author Tonya Barbee gracing us today. Welcome, Tonya.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for having me, Queenie.
Thank you for being here. All right, let's you tell the audience. Tell us about Tonya.
Tonya is a character and a woman in real life. She has written about her story. She has lived her story, and she has decided to share her story with those that will listen, those that will take heed, and for some it has actually helped change their life for the better. um it's been a journey.
Mm-hmm.
It has been a true journey, like a roller coaster, as I've been sharing on my lives. It has been up and down all around, but she still holds on. She formed I Am Still a Rose to empower others to move beyond their fear and to release their fear and to forgive those that have hurt them and to move on and to go after their dreams, aspirations, and love on themselves. So I wrote I wrote The Little Girl Inside and I Am Still a Rose with the hopes of inspiring others to move, move, forgive,
Mm-hmm.
forget what you need to forget. Don't hold on to that past. And love more than anything, love yourself. And that's what I've been doing since 2014.
Okay. You have two books you wrote and several books you wrote with other authors. Could you tell us about those books?
Well, my first book was The Little Girl Inside, where I wrote about my journey with a spouse who betrayed me in the worst way. And I wrote about my experience, and I wrote about how I went through that betrayal and how I had to learn to forgive and how I had to also learn accountability. I had to learn that I played a major role in that pain and I had to own up to it. So that's what I talk
Mm-hmm.
about in my first book. My second book, I'm Still a Rose, I talk about 4 marriages and my experiences in each one of those marriages and where I went wrong. And I talk about my pain and I talk about the journey through that pain and how it got me to where I am today. And that's been the most inspirational of the two that I wrote solely as an author. The other one is Prayer Works, and
Mm-hmm.
it's part of sharing my prayers, an anthology with 12 authors, one including me. And that's a bestseller with Amazon. And in that book, I talked about a testimony that God brings people in your life to help you. And you just have to have faith in Him and to pray and to believe, and all of a sudden things will just start popping into place.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to surrender to Him. You can't stay in that pain. You can't think you can figure it out all by yourself. And
Right.
I wrote about my experience, and that book is That book did really well on Amazon. And then I am in the process of, I just finished up another anthology with my church at First Baptist Highland Park, and I'm waiting for that one to be published. And that one is another testimony, and it talks about being in the workplace, how your co-workers, those haters that you work with, can actually put you in a position to get promoted, but you got to hang in there and have that faith. So that's coming out soon too, and I'm excited about it. So I have 4 projects right now that are going on, and I'm real happy about it.
Okay. Do you have your books available now to show them the cover?
Yes, I have the ones that I have written on my own. This is I'm Still a Rose. This one talks about the drama of being married 4 times and how I finally had to put up the mirror and deal with the fact that all I was doing was going in a vicious circle.
Mhm.
And the first one is The Little Girl Inside,
Hold it
uh,
up. We can't
owning my
see it.
owning
Hold
my
it up.
role,
Yeah.
owning my role in my own pain. That is something that we don't do often. We have a tendency to blame the man, blame the woman, blame the wife, blame the husband. I had to hold the mirror up and deal with me, deal with my
Mhm.
stuff. And I share it in the first book, The Little Girl Inside, about a lot of times until we own up to our own pain, we're going to continue to go in circles and not make any progress in our relationships.
Okay. When did you know that you wanted to be an author?
I always told stories. I always shared stories with my friends and I made them laugh. And I wrote plays in high school, but I never tied it to being an author. Just so happened I was telling the story of the little girl inside to my girlfriends. I call them the G's, the spiritual gangsters. And one of them said, "Hey, you should write this. You should publish your story." And I'd already felt like I should tell my story. So I felt I felt compelled at that point to do something about it. And then
Mhm.
I had a really good friend in my life at the time. And I think I need to write a book. I think I need to write my book. I think I need to write my story. And he said, "Why don't you?" And I'm like, "Ooh, we all need people that push us and not say the opposite, as a naysayer. Girl, you don't need to write no book. We need those in our lives that say, why don't you do it?"
Should do it. Mhm.
Yeah. So he asked me that, and I'm like, "Yeah, why don't I do it?" And I did. Took me 6 months to write the first one, and about 3 months to write the second one. And they were like 2 years apart.
Okay.
Yes.
When you're not writing, what are you doing?
When I'm not writing, I'm sitting with your brother, who is an amazing graphic artist, John Clements. He has been such a partner with me. We brainstorm about the different products that go with I'm Still a Rose. And that
Okay.
being more t-shirts, magnets,
Okay.
t-shirts for men, um, and I also like to read self-help books, books that keep you focused, keep you determined to not give up. And so I do a lot of reading. And I also, what else do I do on my quiet time when I'm not writing? I'm planning, because I have so many things I want to do and so many things I want to bring light to. And so I'm planning when I'm going to do it, how I'm going to do it. And then I'm praying over it also, because I know I
Mhm.
can't do anything without our Father. Because I don't know, sometimes I wonder how I'm still standing. So
Yep.
I'm so grateful. And I do praying, and then I try to pull it all together, or wait until I get guidance from God to tell me which direction, because I got so much I want to do, Queenie. It's amazing. And I feel like gradually things are happening and things are coming together. So I do a lot of planning, and then I have a 13-year-old that I'm running up and down the highway because he's in AAU sports and just trying to keep up with his busy schedule, and he sings in the choir too. So he's always got stuff going on. And then my busy job as a project manager. So I'm always going in some direction, and also I'm a grandmom. So I got all that going on, all of that going on. Yes.
Okay. What is your testimony?
Ooh, I got so many. That ain't fair. Which one you want?
Just give me one.
That's deep. Well, I'll give you my most recent one. I thought I was having a heart attack Memorial Day weekend. And it's not a heart attack, thank God. My mom has had a heart attack, and I have a sister that's in her early 60s. She also had a heart attack, and they're both survivors. And I just knew that's what it was. And thanks be to God, it was not. It might be some lung issues. So I pray that I'm going to be okay. I just did some work, took some tests today to get back to the doctor next week. So I'm still kind of concerned. But I know we're not supposed to have any anxiety, and we're supposed to cast all our fears to God. So I got that, and that's what I'm working on. But my testimony is I came out of that hospital and I didn't have heart issues. So I'm grateful for that.
All right. What inspires you to write, or what sparked you to write your story?
What inspired me was, first of all, I needed to get rid of the pain. And I know journaling is sometimes is helpful when you want to get rid of pain. You just write. And that has always been helpful for me. And as I was writing, I cried. And I guess that was therapy for me. And then it hit me. I had friends that say, don't do it, because they were concerned I'm getting my business out. But I looked at it from a different angle, that my business is your business. If it can help you, I don't mind transferring my business to you if I know that it's going to help you as much as it did me.
Yes.
So for that reason, it was twofold. I felt after I got through my stuff that I could possibly, because it was working on me, because I was crying as I wrote it. I mean, my papers were all teared up. And I said, wow, if it has this effect on me, perhaps it'll have that effect on you as a reader as well. And that was really important to me, because I've always wanted to give back, and I've always wanted to help others. And I always have had empathy for women who've gone through some stuff, because I'm like, why do we go through so much? And it just doesn't make sense. So when we do go through it, I want to be there to encourage others that it's going to be okay. There's light at the end of the tunnel, no matter what you're facing right now. So it was therapeutic, and I felt it was going to be therapeutic to others.
Okay. How do you feel about reviews?
I love reviews. I just don't get enough. My reviews that I have been awesome. One said something like, I wasn't going to read this book. I didn't like the title, but I wrote it, and it was so inspirational, and it felt so good. And I just wish I had more of them, but I guess it's hard for people to realize. I guess some people might think, I bought the book, what more do they want?
Mm-hmm.
But I wish people who read good material come out of that sharing what they read to others, so that others can feel good and get
Mm-hmm.
something out of it also.
Mm-hmm.
Because the ultimate goal is the domino effect. Well, this
Yes.
person wrote a nice testimony or a nice review, so that'll encourage somebody else to do it, and so forth. But I'm noticing people just don't take the time, because that's an extra step. and
Mm-hmm.
and we're so busy in life that we don't necessarily take the time to stop. And they don't realize they're not only not feeding an author, they're they're not helping somebody else. Because a lot of times people in pain are looking at reviews to see what books that can help them out. There's some people, especially the millennials, it's my understanding they don't even buy anything without reviews. So that means
Oh.
those good products could actually be sitting on shelves because nobody is reviewing it. Nobody is saying, "Hey, I like this product."
Oh, okay. Was it hard to write these books about your life and journey?
Oh yes, as I've said, I cried throughout, and then I said, "I cannot believe you went through that. Oh my gosh, this is embarrassing. Take that out." But I put the ego in check. I put the pride in check. And I said, I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep writing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to keep
Mm-hmm.
going. But yes, it was very difficult. At times, I was worried who was going to read it, how it was going to affect my job. I have I work with some really high level people. I was worried if they read it, would they judge me? I was worried about church folks. What would they think of me having so many husbands? Um, yeah, I still go through that, but I still wrote it, and I feel courageous that I did it. I accomplished the mission. I got it copyrighted and I got it out of here. I got it published and there it goes. And I'm praying that if I get judged, so be it. But if it helps somebody, that's powerful. That's my dream, that is helping somebody.
If you wasn't an author, what would you be doing?
I would hope my authorship would take me into directing, because I always wanted to direct plays and write plays. So that's my dream, and that's where I want to go next. And I also want to take my speaking engagements to another level. So that's what I believe I would be doing, and that's where I want to go next.
Okay. What has been the hardest thing about writing a book?
Consistency, not procrastinating, staying on target, staying on task, uh, staying focused,
Mm-hmm.
and most importantly, having having some people around you, like a circle of friends who are
Yes.
supporters. And in some cases, hiring a book coach, because for my last book, I did hire a book coach because it was really hard for me because I had so many things going on, and I needed somebody that I actually paid, that bullied me into keeping it on track, and that worked tremendously. Yes.
Okay. What has been your greatest accomplishment thus far?
My greatest accomplishment in regards to book writing, or
Yes.
in general?
Yes.
In book writing, my book release. that was a major accomplishment. I sold out of books. I sold out of t-shirts. I had people that loved what I was doing, who was very supportive. And it was a very successful event. And I can't get it out of my head. And I got to talk about it. I got to have my children there. So that was my best day, my most successful event. And then to see my first reviews come in and to see you and your friends come in, I cried because to see you in a whole nother state touching my book, and your friend, you had a friend that was actually reading the book while she was eating lunch. And I just said, this is just awesome. And it made me cry. And I still tear up when I think about it. And it just makes me feel really good that somebody reads it and somebody can relate to it, and 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 somebody can get through something after reading it. That means a lot to me. Not just relating to it, but to do some homework after relating to it. That's important. Because I'm an
Yes.
action-oriented person. So I would hope somebody that reads it, not just say, "Oh, that was a good book. I really like reading it," but to say, "I did that too, and it helped me," or "I did this too, and it helped me." So those were the most successful times to see you guys engaged, and that was a very awesome point for me, and that motivated me to keep writing.
Okay. And next question. Tell us about your segment, the Talk Radio online show. How did that come about?
You're not going to believe this. God's intervention. 4 years ago, I wrote, well, 2014, what's that, 5 years ago? I wrote The Little Girl Inside, my first publication. And then I had some people from Georgia who actually did my publishing. And I mean, not my publishing, my, I forgot what you call it. Oh my gosh, I can't think of it. They go out and get your information on radio stations and so forth. Well, that's what they did. That's what they were paid to do. And she connected me to WBGR to be interviewed on his radio station. So I got to meet with the owner in 2014. And after going over my book with him and being interviewed by him, and I was so introverted being in that environment because although it was my dream to do radio, I never connected the dots that it would ever happen. And I'm sitting there with him and I'm going over talking to him about my first project. And he's saying, "Hey, you should be doing this. You should be on the radio." And I said, "Yeah, one day in my dreams, sure, that'll happen." And 2 years later, he reached out, told me how I should really come out. I really should do this. It's going to be awesome. And I said, yeah, sure it will. Yeah, one day, maybe so. And then finally, a few years later, 2018 to be exact, or 2000 late 17 to be exact, my coworker said, "Hey, I know somebody at a radio station. I think you should get your book interviewed." So I did. I went up there, got my book interviewed. She interviewed me on the regarding the book, and it was the same radio station. So guess who comes out? The owner. "I told you you need to be here," and that's when I got connected. At that point, I had to say yes, and I've been there ever since. And that's how Still a Rose has come about, because it ties to my company as I'm Still a Rose. We talk about relationship issues. I bring on exciting guests experts in relationships and coaches and dating coaches and so forth, educators, tying it to the children that we give birth to, how it all ties together, counselors, therapists, and so forth. And that's the platform that I use to talk about relationships. So that's how Still a Rose came about. And I'm really excited about it. Lionel Green is, and the comedian Coy, LaShawn, they are awesome people to work with. And we're doing some good stuff over there.
Okay. Before our time runs out, how can the readers get in touch with you?
Oh, that's a great question. They can get in touch with me on Facebook. I am Still a Rose. Like my page. I'm always putting out the videos over there. My books are on Amazon. Again, the books are I'm Still a Rose, The Little Girl Inside. And I do podcasts on Barbie's Real Talk. And all of my videos are on YouTube. And that is also under Tonya Barbee. I am Still a Rose. And my website is tonyabarbee.com as well. So you can find me in all those areas. And my email is iamstillarose@gmail.com.
Okay, you want to show your books?
Yes, ma'am. All right, this is I Am Still a Rose. This is my most recent one. This is where I talk about the 4 husbands and the relationships that I've had and the experiences that I went through and how I got out of it and became the person that I am today. Through trial and tribulation, I didn't give up. I've forgiven everybody. I've moved on and I'm in a good place right now. This is The Little Girl Inside. This talks about bigamy. It talks about betrayal. And it also talks about owning up, being responsible for my issues and taking responsibility and doing something about it.
All right. I am still a rose in spite of it all.
Yes.
This is Tonya Barbee, the author, and I would like to say thank you for
You are so welcome
this afternoon and doing a interview with me today. And I would like to say I'm Queenie Clem with Queenie's Book Talk and Reviews. Happy reading. Have a blessed day.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.